Hello there, and thanks for tuning in to Renoites. Renoites is a interview podcast hosted by myself, Connor McQuivey, here in Reno, Nevada. I talk to all sorts of folks from Northern Nevada. This is one of a series of bonus episodes that I'm recording live at the Riverside Farmers Market. We're between normal seasons of the Renoites podcast right now, but I still want to be able to share businesses, nonprofits, people's stories throughout the summer. One of the ways I'm going to do that is by being at the Riverside Farmers Market most Sundays at Idlewild Park from 8 to 1, and sharing some mini episodes, usually about 10 to 20 minutes, with some of the other vendors from the market. I hope you enjoy this one as well as the others to come. If you have suggestions for guests, please let me know. Send me an email, Connor, C-O-N-O-R, @renoites.com. Tune into the regular episodes, which will be returning in the beginning of September, and I have live episodes coming up as well. Of course, if you enjoy this show and appreciate the work that I'm doing, I would love your financial support as well. You can learn more at patreon.com/Renoites. And now, this week's special episode live from the Riverside Farmers Market. Kaylie Arnold from Haggle Haus, welcome to Renoites.
Thank you. Happy to be here. This is my first podcast ever.
Amazing. I'm glad to be your first podcast. So you run the Haggle Haus fashion truck, which is a newer business that's been here at the Riverside Farmers Market a bunch, and I've seen you at several other market events. Mm-hmm. Can you just start by telling me what is Haggle Haus? How long have you had that business, and how did you get started in it?
Yeah, so Haggle Haus is a reclaimed fashion mobile truck. We just got going at the end of May this year. So we've been at the Riverside Farmers Market almost every Sunday, but we're always adding new events. It's just been really fun. So it's all secondhand clothing and home decor, and you're allowed to haggle. Hence the name.
Nice. Are you like a thrifter in general, or how did you start this idea? Where did it come from?
Oh my gosh. My grandma Janice has been thrifting my whole life. All of our Christmas gifts were thrifted, which as a 8-year-old, you're like, what is this? We wanted like brand name things, but you can find brand names. She just didn't know. But that evolved. Like I'd go with her, and then I was like, oh, you actually can find like really good stuff at thrift stores. So we would do that growing up here and there. And then in college, I lived in the same town as her, and she showed me all the good spots. And I just found like it's such a good deal. Mm-hmm. And I think as I've gotten older, like I love the sustainability piece of secondhand. In the interim, I also was a stylist for Stitch Fix, and I just love the fashion industry in general. And so I think doing secondhand with that style background is like the perfect match for me. Mm-hmm. And that I feel good about the clothes. Like nice. Feel good about where they came from and that they're good quality.
Excellent. Tell me about the truck itself, like the logo design and the style. It's the clothes are stylish, and also the truck itself is like, I like the design. Can you talk a little bit about the look and feel of the truck?
So the vibe is a mix. I wanted to go for that vintage feel, but also a lot of the clothes are modern. So I wanted the logo to reflect that. And it was kind of harder to do than I thought, but my good friend Ruby Santon helped me design it. And I love the logo. And then Elizabeth Grimm, another good girlfriend who partners with me with Haggle Haus, we were trying to do something. She was like, okay, the truck has to have color. It cannot be totally white. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like that like clean look. And then a week before our first market, the truck broke down in the middle of the road. The transmission went out. And I had to back up into like that median thing. And I took a picture of it. And later when I saw it, I was like, you're right. It looks like a creepy milk fan. Like we have to do something fun. Actually, there's a picture inside that we pulled the color scheme from. It felt like the vibe. And we wanted to do like abstract, and she kind of drew out a mock version. And then actually outside of the mechanic where we were getting it fixed, we painted it one Saturday morning. So
nice.
We got lots of passerby that were like, what you doing?
Right.
So we're really happy with how it turned out. Like it was very fun. And sometimes we're like, are we mirrorless? Right. Like what happened?
Yeah. What's the inside of the truck like? So what's the shopping experience? I mean, a truck is only so much space to work with. Yes. What was it like kind of building out the inside and making it look and feel like what you wanted it to?
You know, this has been such a community effort. So Servando Malion, he has a construction business. So he helped me build it out. We wanted it, again, to look clean, to look inviting, like look like an actual boutique. Mm-hmm. We wanted to do that, but also use as much secondhand material as we could. So the flooring was like left over from somebody's house project, and they were selling it online. So I got that from them. And then honestly, durability. Those racks have to hold so many clothes, and we're still not even quite sure. It's like, I mean, you're drilling into like a mobile store. So we're like, if we take these out, is it just going to be a hole in there? Like,
Right.
yeah. So we're very careful about not screwing things into the wall until we know we like it. But it's got a changing room. We just want to make it inviting and pretty, but also sustainable as much as we can. So
Yeah. Tell me about so reclaimed fashion is kind of the tagline for it. Can you talk a little bit about why that represents what you're doing? That like, obviously it's reclaimed, it's used materials and fashion. You're looking for fashionable stuff, right? It's not like when you go to the thrift store and you're digging through a bin.
Right.
So can you talk a little about the reclaimed fashion idea of the truck?
yeah. So I think thrift stores can be intimidating. I love them. It feels like a playground for me, but not everybody feels that way. And I get it because you can walk into some that are like, whoo, there's a lot happening in here. Smells, the sights are all a little different than you're expecting. But I think with that stylist background, like I'm looking for pieces that you would find today in a store. And even the vintage pieces, it's like fashion's so cyclical that you can find things that maybe just need like some mending or a little bit of tweaking to look modern. So those are the pieces that we're looking for. And there's like technically like 6 different style types, but there's so many now. It's like classic, like edgy, natural. And so I'm looking for pieces in all those categories so that it fits a wide variety of people. But I also am looking for size inclusive stuff too. So so hopefully when you walk up, it looks like a boutique and you're shocked to the secondhand. That's the goal.
Gotcha. So tell me about the name Haggle Haus. You mentioned that you can haggle. I hate haggling. It stresses me out, but I know that a lot of shoppers love to be able to kind of like negotiate the best deal for the things they're buying.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the business model of Haggle Haus?
Yeah. So I'm also a flight attendant. And so I do thrifting on layovers. That's why it's reclaimed fashion from around the world. And it's truly from around the world. So different places. Like this summer I went to Paris and did some thrifting there while working, But the name, I was actually going for a run one day and like trying to brainstorm, like how could I have a haggling type of business, And that like came to me. And the house is supposed to be like a fancy fashion house, Haus.
Right.
One of my favorite things about layovers in different countries is that you go to these markets where you can haggle. Again, you're right. Like I feel like half and half. Half the people love it and half are like, no, that was terrible. And so we have prices on stuff so you don't have to haggle if you don't want. But there was nowhere in the States to do that. So I'm like, I just feel like it's a fun, like you can get a bargain, get a good deal. Like we try to keep the prices accessible, and if they're not for you, you can make it accessible with a haggle.
Right. I see you at a lot of different markets. So we're here at the Riverside Farmers Market now. I saw you at the Reno Night Market at the Glow Plaza about a week ago. Have you been at Feed the Camel too, I think?
We have, yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the experience of working at different markets and different locations? Obviously, you're out of a truck, so you don't have a consistent storefront, but I see you all over town and you're doing a lot of these markets. Can you just talk a little bit about your experience in kind of, the maker market space and being in different places, how you communicate with customers about where you're going to be? Just what's that experience like being a market-based seller?
Like just mobile, right?
Yeah.
It has been, first and foremost, just so fun for me and Elizabeth to do all the markets and engage with the community. The response and just chatting with people has been really rewarding. We're constant at the Riverside Market on Sundays, and then we announce on our Instagram stories where we'll be. So if we've added cool events, we're always looking for new ones to be a part of. We put it on social media, but usually on Instagram and Facebook.
Gotcha.
We have some TikTok videos going, but I'm a millennial. I'm slow on the uptake with that.
Same. Yeah, I feel a little too old for TikTok.
Yeah. I do like it, but I struggle.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this? When did you start the truck?
So during COVID, I took an 18-month leave from flying with Delta. And during that time, I was redecorating my house. I was doing a lot of thrift shopping. And I ended up buying clothes. Like I'd see things for people, and I was mailing clothes to people anyway. And I started selling, reselling online. It's fun, but I absolutely hate shipping things. And so Elizabeth was like, have you thought about doing a truck? And I'm like, I have, but I don't know. The more we thought about it, it was like, that's just so fun. And I feel like during COVID, I don't know why the trend started that way, but people were more receptive to secondhand, and like thrifting and vintage has like come into its height right now of style. Like people are into it. So I'm very grateful for that. Also with my schedule, like I don't want to open a storefront right away and like have to sit there all day. So being able to be mobile and do it randomly is really fun.
Yeah, excellent. What do you hope to do with the truck kind of going forward? Or do you want to eventually have a storefront, or how do you see the business kind of like growing and changing as it continues?
Ooh, so many things. I would not be opposed to being a brick and mortar eventually. I am not super familiar with that space. So again, I feel like that's just having a small business, you're learning things around every corner where I'm like, oh, won't do that again. Or, that was good. So yeah, I'd totally be open to it. But I think for now, our next thing for winter coming up is we want to do some kind of like party situation where you can like have the truck come to you or like bachelorette or something like that. Like we're trying to work out some kind of style party, or like maybe you get to find out different styles you're into. But
fun.
That's what we're looking forward to soon. Other than that, I'm open to anything really.
Nice. Yeah, adding kind of like an event sort of vibe to it.
And we're still hashing out what that looks like and like open to feedback. So yeah, we're going to try to enter that space in the winter.
Awesome. What's the response been like for people so far? You have I have been right next to your truck for most of the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people coming and going. What do people think of the store? How are people responding to it?
Honestly, that's what's so fun is like, it's such a wide range of humans, and it feels like such a positive response. Like I feel so grateful and honestly like connected to the community through it. It just feels like anyone can find something. If they're not into it, they can find something for someone they know. We have kids' clothes, we have men's, we have women's, anything in between, all sizes, because it's kind of random what I'll have because it's just whatever is the best stuff that I find. But I'm constantly like keeping it top of mind to be size inclusive. So yeah, there's really something for everybody. And like today we found out that somebody's about to move to London and she bought a cute denim jacket and she's going to pursue like teaching theater. And I don't know, just like I feel like we get to find out different things about people in our community, and it's been really very heartwarming. I've really loved it.
Nice. Yeah, I am finding that doing the podcast and talking with the vendors here at the market,
Yeah.
that a lot of the appeal of these kind of market events is the opportunity to talk to customers.
Yeah.
Right? I've worked in retail before in like big box, and where it's just you're kind of a cog in a machine, and, right? You don't get to connect with people as much. But I'm finding that smaller businesses, local oriented businesses, especially in these kind of like market environments, it just invites conversation.
It totally does. And like, even on this small scale, like you said, when you've worked in fast fashion before, it felt like you had to hurry, like hustle, because the main goal is always money. And it's like, it feels like you're providing an experience, and it's like, yeah, we all need to make a living, but you're finding out personal things and connecting in a different way. One girl was like, oh, I'm going to be in a wedding in October. If you can keep an eye out for a sage dress. And I'm like, girl, you just messaged me on Instagram and I will keep an eye out for a sage dress, you know? And you couldn't ask an employee at H&M to keep an eye out for something for you. I mean, not that you couldn't maybe find something, but you're like, there's just a personal touch that's nice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So where can people find you? Obviously, you're here at the farmer's market. Do you have any particular markets or other places that people can just come to the truck? And where can people find you online and keep up with what's going on?
Yeah, so for social media, it's at Haggle Haus, the Haus fancy house. We're here every Sunday, you know, maybe one-off. We're not from vacation or something, but we'll mostly be here. And we've applied for a few different markets for fall. So this is our like standard that we are always at. We're at the Feed the Camel on Wednesday nights, almost every other week. And then it's just going to be one-off. So we'll just update our stories that week for where we'll be.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I'm glad we finally got to do this, because once I started at the market, I was like, oh, we have to do it, because I know Elizabeth as well.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have to do a Haggle Haus episode. We have to do the Haggle Haus episode. And it's been a few weeks because you've been so busy. It's hard to like get you away from the truck. But thanks for coming on the show. It's great to actually learn about what you're doing with the truck. And as someone who also appreciates affordable fashion and is not a fan of the wastefulness of our kind of fast fashion world.
The throwaway culture.
Yeah. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, both in terms of, you know, connecting with people here in the community, giving something that's a more sustainable option, and just fun. It's nice to have fun small businesses. So I appreciate you coming on the show to talk about it.
Well, thanks for highlighting us. I really appreciate it. And you made it very easy for my first podcast.
Oh, good. That's
very fun.
one of my goals is that if people come on the show, I say this all the time, is like, if anyone comes on my show, my goal is that they have like a good experience while we're recording, and then that I do a good job of audio quality and editing and promotion, that they are just really happy with the whole experience, because that makes them want to share the project and share the episode. And so I appreciate that you've had a good podcast experience.
Yes, it's
mission
been great.
accomplished for
me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this special episode of Renoites from the Riverside Farmers Market. If you have suggestions for future episodes or any kind of feedback, please let me know on Instagram at Renoites or send me an email, Connor, CONOR, at Renoites.com. And keep an eye on the podcast feed for more of these special episodes, as well as regular episodes coming back soon. I also have multiple live events. You can learn more about those on my Instagram at Renoites or at Renoites.com. Thank you so much for your support. See you soon.